As you all may have heard by now, it's September, which means it's time for Apple's latest iPhone release. I'm John from Pevely, and today we're going to talk about the new iPhone 11 Pro Max. From first glance, we can see Apple decided to go with a new textured matte finish. The one we're looking at today is the new midnight green version. It has sculpted glass and stainless steel design. So let's dive into the specs of this phone. First off, it has an A13 Bionic chip, which is an upgrade of last year's A12 Bionic chip. The weight of this phone is 226 grams, which is a little bit more than last year's XS Max, which weighed 208 grams. Again, it has 4 GB of RAM, which is the same as last year's. This phone has an IP68 of 4 meters for up to 30 minutes. There's a few new color options. There's the gold, space gray, silver, and the new midnight green. The pricing options are $1099 for 64 gigabytes, $1249 for 256 gigabytes, and $1449 for 512 gigabytes. At the time of release, this phone will be on iOS 13. If you want to find out more about iOS 13, click the link right here. So let's talk about the battery in this phone, which is honestly pretty impressive. A lot of people are saying since they decided to get rid of the 3D Touch, it made more room for them to put in a better, more efficient battery. The iPhone 11 Pro Max has 3,500 milliamp hours, which compared to the XS Max, you would actually get about 5 more hours of time.
Okay, I found this on the web.
Interesting. Another thing about this battery and the phone is it's the first iPhone to come with a fast charger in the box, which is an 18-watt fast charger. So this phone is tested at roughly about an hour and 45 minutes from 0 to 100 for a full charge. But the impressive spec behind this is it can go about 50% in just 30 minutes. The other thing to note about this phone is it still is a Lightning connection, which seems kind of odd because they did add that USB-C to the brick for the fast charger, but we can't complain, it's still going to be quick. So let's get into the display behind this device. Apple has rebranded their name as the Super Retina XDR display. This has 12,000 nits peak brightness, tap to wake, it is again an OLED screen, a 2,000,000:1 contrast ratio. They also decided to eliminate 3D touch in favor of haptic feedback. A lot of people haven't noticed the difference, but you can feel it when you push in like how you would for 3D touch. It is a little bit noticeable, but way easy to get over. It has 15% more efficient display, spatial audio, sound, and again, that Super Retina XDR display. By far the biggest advance in this phone was adding that third camera. So let's dive into the specs of that. There's 3 cameras on the back side of this phone and still the front facing. There's a new wide camera 12 megapixel 26mm f1.8, a new telephoto camera 12 megapixel 52mm f2.0, and a new ultra wide camera 12 megapixels 13mm f2.4. And it also has the standard front facing camera, but they actually upgraded that from 7 megapixels to 12. And the flash is now a quad LED. Apple has also brought back the 4x optical zoom range that allows you to zoom in and out without degrading the quality. So another thing Apple improved on this year was their deep fusion technology. Using machine learning in low to medium light, it shoots 9 images when you hit the shutter, which the neural engines analyze and fuse all the pixels from each photo and optimize it for detail and low noise. So let's get into the video behind this device, which Apple again prides themselves off of. Something really cool about the camera in this iPhone is it's able to real-time prime the other cameras for autofocus, temperature, tone, mapping, and allow you to transition to each smoothly. With both the camera and video features, you can actually go seamlessly from the wide camera all the way to the telephoto just by dragging your finger. It's a pretty impressive add. Apple hasn't updated any of the frame rates or the resolution that you can do, but you can still do 4K at 60 frames per second with an extended dynamic range. And again, at full HD, you can shoot up to 240 frames per second. It also has auto adjust and audio zoom in video. Another feature this iPhone has that others don't is the new night mode. Now, other smartphones have done that, but this is the first time Apple has taken charge on it. And it honestly is pretty impressive. So it still uses the deep fusion technology, but it just increases the shutter speed. You do have to hold your camera pretty sturdy if you want to get a solid image with not a lot of noise or blur, but it honestly is very impressive. So I wouldn't say you could use night mode with any action shooting, but just for landscapes and portraits, you should be good. So overall, this really isn't a big upgrade from the iPhone XS Max. Other than adding the third camera, if you're not into photos at all, you probably wouldn't notice the difference. But if you are, adding that third camera, especially the wide camera, is a huge improvement. Also, having the extended battery life, the iPhone 11 Pro Max has an additional 5 hours of battery life. So the best iPhone to compare this to is definitely the iPhone XS Max. Now, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference from the fronts, but obviously with the backs you can because they added that third camera. If you're a big camera person, this is a bit different than the XS Max. You do get that ultra wide to the more zoomed in, so it gives you a lot more flexibility in your shoots, which is a big upgrade. And obviously the increased battery life is a huge win. It does have faster Face ID. There are a few other details that makes this better than the iPhone XS Max. Now, Apple isn't the first ones to do the 3-camera system, but it is a huge upgrade for them. It's honestly going to open a lot for professional photographers and people who are just using it for daily. But I would say that this is a professional camera system. In the keynote, they showed some apps where you can use all the cameras at the same time. Those don't seem to be out. Looking through the App Store and doing a little bit digging, but it does look like they will be out in the future, which I think is a huge win for videographers and photographers. The other big upgrades are the colors. The midnight green is pretty solid, which honestly, it's more like in the light, it looks more like a gray. It doesn't look as green, but in certain lighting conditions, it definitely does look like a midnight green. But I would say it's closer to gray.
Sorry, I didn't quite.
She's nosy today. And the other big thing is the 18-watt fast charger coming in the box. Usually, if you had the XS Max, you have to go buy an $80 setup, which was a 35-watt fast charger. And it is significantly faster than the 18-watt charger, but again, that's an $80 purchase compared to what comes in the box. So overall, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is a really impressive phone. Whether it can stand up to actually having that Pro title, I'm not quite sure about yet. Hopefully Apple continues to use the capabilities of this phone, and hopefully some updates where you can really push it to the limits comes out. But putting a Pro name on it might just be part of the hype. That seems like a really popular thing to do. I would say it is a Pro camera system, so they do have us there, but the internals, I wouldn't say that's a Pro device. In my opinion, I would think that maybe with a Pro phone, we might get a Pro iOS or something that professionals can use to maybe be a bit more customizable, maybe change up the interfaces and really push our phones to the limits. I mean, who knows if one day we don't carry around laptops, we don't carry around iPads, all of our daily drivers are through a phone. You never know, but we are moving in that way with having a Pro phone. So overall, this phone is a pretty impressive upgrade. I wouldn't say it's a Pro model, but I think I think Apple is on a great route to having a Pro phone and showing success in that field. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. If you want to see more of our content, hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell so you can get notifications. I'm John from Pevely. Thanks for watching.